I'm Liu Ying with Xinhua News Agency. I'm now at the Mount Qomolangma base camp, which is situated at 5,200 meters above sea level. Right now, a new comprehensive expedition is underway here in this area. It is part of the second China surveys on Xinhua Plateau, which started in 2017. For this expedition, Chinese scientists have successfully established the highest automatic weather station on Mount Qomolangma at the elevation of more than 8,800 meters. It has now replaced the one that was set by US and British scientists in 2019 at the elevation of 8,430 meters. Chinese scientists have successfully established 8 weather stations on the Mount Qomolangma. Altogether, the 8 stations will collect data about the wind speed and wind direction to help further scientific research. The expedition team, composed of 13 members, carried the weather station up to the altitude of more than 8,800 meters on May 4th. And they have successfully set up the weather station on the spot and moved further to the summit of Mount Qomolangma and to conduct samplings and observations. They've now returned to the base camp at the altitude of 5,200 meters. Let's see how they feel now. So here we have Xinhua, who is also one of the members reaching the peak. Let's see how he feels now. So, what's your feeling now?
A little bit tired. Yeah.
So what's it feel like when you're standing on the summit of Mount Qomolangma?
Yeah, this time it's very cold in the top. Before I submit four times, but this time is the most cold weather in the top. Yeah.
So what's your task on the top this time?
The climate station. Yeah. So this is more important in this time, and I make a climate station in the top.
So I heard that the whole journey was really difficult this time.
Yes.
Can you explain us in details?
Because climate station is very heavy, so all the stuff bring from 6,000 feet to the top. So we have 13 people, so we carry. So it's very heavy to top. Yeah, so it's very tight.
And I heard that the weather was really snowy at that time.
Yes. So it's the most steep snow in the Mount Qomolangma. Before, from Camp 3 to the summit, just we walking on the rock. But this time is all is steep snow, so it's very difficult to the top. Before we plan 4 or 5 hours got to the summit, but when we start from Camp 3 to the top, we just spend 9 hours. It's very difficult for us. Yeah,
it's really long. And I heard that the last time you went to the top is like 10 years before. So is there any differences between before and this time?
Yes, last time is before the 10 years. So at that time we just climb into the summit is finished. But this time we have a very important mission for us. So we have a very big responsibility. So this time is the most difficult and big responsibility for us. So it's very difficult in my mind.
Yeah. I think you and your team members You are all the heroes of our nation.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
for
you.
seeing-
Thank you, Liu. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I've met the expedition team on the afternoon when they returned from the summit. They were really tired after this long journey. And one of the members had his food bath just inside the tent, while others have their beard shaved. The base camp was their home before they set off to the summit. So let's have a little tour to check out what the base camp is like. So these are the tents for people to sleep at night. It could get really cold during the night. I've stayed here for one night, though you could hear wind whistling, but with the electric blanket, it could be really warm inside the sleeping bag. So another interesting about the base camp is the huge tent over there. It has a small gym inside, and let's go and check out. You can see there are exercise bikes, massage chairs inside, and other entertainment infrastructure here. It seems that apart from the high altitude, there's no difference between other places. Even for the signal. Knowing that I'm at the base camp of the elevation of 5,200 meters, my friend's really curious about whether there is a signal for mobile here. So I'm going to video chat one of my colleagues, Xinhua, who has been on Mount Qomolangma several times in past years. Hi, Chino. I'm Liu Ying on the Mount Qomolangma base camp. So my friends, they were really curious about whether there's signals on the base camp. So I just video call you. I know that you've been on the camp for several times in past years. So how was your feeling at that time?
Wow. So the signal is quite good, right? Obviously, you can talk to me and you can hear me and I can hear you, right? Yeah, so as far as I remember, the communication situation at Mount Qomolangma has been always good. And I had been there every year in consecutive 4 years. And the first time I was there was 2018. And at that time, the signals at the base camp was very good, and which surprised me a lot. And I remembered we also did a live broadcast there. And as far as I remember, that was the first time that we Xinhua did ever done a live broadcast at the base camp. So that was a very historic moment for me personally. And also later in 2019 and 2020, we also have those live broadcasts at the base camp every year. Especially in 2020, you know, when China measured the height of Mount Qomolangma, we even did a live broadcast on the top of the mountain. So that was really a historic moment of our career. And So I'm so glad you're there and you keep the tradition alive, doing that live show again. So anything new you found there this year?
One thing that is very important is that there's a helicopter that you could carry people up to 6,500 meters directly.
Wow, fantastic!
So
and you've been on it?
no, I haven't. I've heard it flying away like several times, but I haven't been on the helicopter.
You should try it someday, maybe later.
Hope I can have this chance to get on.
Yeah. Wow, I'm so envious of you. You know, I've never seen a helicopter at the base camp.
Okay, so thank you a lot for receiving my call. So I will lead our audience to see furthermore about our base camp.
Okay, my pleasure, and have a good time there.
Thank you very much. So see you maybe later in Beijing.
Yeah, okay. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Xinhua, and now let's move on to explore the camp further. It is commonly known that the high altitude environment have an impact on human health. I think you can probably hear from my breath. The lungs and hearts are the most important organs that may be affected by high altitude environment. But what impact does ultra high altitude have on human health, and what people could do to protect themselves when they're on ultra high altitude environment? A team of Zhutong is now conducting surveys to trying to find answers of those questions. So have a look of a short video we made several days before to get know about what their research is about.
As a testing object himself, Zhu Tong, an academician with Chinese Academy of Sciences, led his team on Sunday to explore the effects of ultra-high altitude environments on human health at the Mount Qomolangma base camp for mountaineering at an altitude of 5,200 meters. The research is an important project of the Comprehensive Scientific Expedition on Mount Qomolangma, part of China's second scientific research survey on the Qinghai Tibet Plateau.
那实际上呢，在很艰苦的地方、人迹罕见的地方，有很多未知的科学问题，需要我们去观察、去了解、去揭示。所以，除了美丽的风景以外，还有非常有意思的科学问题值得我们去做。
To obtain first-hand data, the participating members including Zhu, wearing sensors for saturation and electrocardiogram monitoring, trekked back and forth near the Mount Qomolangma base camp for mountaineering. The participants collected blood, urine, saliva, feces and other samples of themselves, measured blood pressure, and monitored pulse wave velocity to accumulate samples for the follow-up research.
So here we're at the tent where Zhu's team worked. Now let's go inside to find out the details of their research. So here we have Professor Gong, who will be introducing the information about their research. So can you please briefly introduce to the audience?
Okay, yeah, we call it the Earth Summit 2022, and this is a continuous research campaign of the national second comprehensive research on the Tibetan Plateau. And in this research, we are focusing on humans' health response to the co-exposure to ozone. High-level ozone in this area and the hypoxia due to the low pressure. Yeah.
So I've noticed that we've chosen 50 volunteers to participate in our research. So how do we choose those people?
Yeah, the majority of our volunteers is composed of our researcher, and this is a very important scientific questions. So we want to know whether the people living in the low in the regular place, when they come to the Tibetan plateau, whether their health result has some very significant changes. So this is very important for us to know, and I think and we think this is a very important question for us to answer. And other volunteers, we have some friends from the media and also the mountaineers. So this is a very interesting. A lot of people want to know whether the mountaineers will have the very significant response before and after they go to the top of the yeah.
So is that also the reason why we do the research on the Mount Qomolangma?
Yeah, this is a very special place for us to answer the questions. In this area, as you know, it's very low pressure, so the oxygen percent is very low. So people may have some hypoxia response. And also, most of people don't know, in this area, the ozone exposure is very high. It's very significant. And the ozone, when we inhale ozone, ozone can harm our respiratory and the cardiovascular system. Yeah, so we want to know whether the co-exposure of the hypoxia and ozone will have double the harmful to the regular people. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So can you please show us about how we conduct our research?
Yeah, these are our team members that Dr. Mong gave your introduction.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Dr.
Hi, I'm responsible for planning the sapling arrangements, and although there are not participants right now, let's go in and see what our people are doing after the field sapling, okay?
Okay.
Here's the packaging serum and plasma.
Hi. So we are allocating the samples into different, sets, and as a fact, some part of this sample will be sent to the clinic for a clinic routine test. And for example, this one we have the clotting measurements, clotting factors, and for this one we have the RNA, and it will reflect the transcriptome and in our body. And for this one, we have the for example, we will test the metabolites, for example, sugar, and also we will test some of the other biomarkers, for example, proteins and lipids. And for this one, we will have the blood routine test. We will measure blood cell and red cell, which will reflect our inflammatory status, and also the hypoxia, as Professor Gong said. So these samples will have a lot of information about our health facts of the different levels of biomarkers. So that's what we have done. We are doing.
Okay, thank you.
And he is responsible for measuring portable electrocardiograph and blood oxygen saturation.
Yeah, here are some wearable devices. First, this is an O2 ring. This ring can automatically measure your blood oxygen saturation and your heart rate. And we also have this. This is a heart monitor, and when you're wearing it, it can track your dynamic ECG, electronic graphic, and calculate the heart rate variability.
So I saw you have one of the rings.
Yeah.
So you are among one of those 50 volunteers.
Of course, You can see when I tap the circle ring, and my heartbeat, my oxygen saturation is 78%, and my heartbeat is 108. Okay?
So, I think there's a quite professional information about those research. It's probably a little bit difficult for us to understand, but it could be really important for their research and for the people who will be on the high altitude plateau. Okay. So they will be going to another small tent where their other colleagues are working.
Okay, here we go. She's the packaging slaver.
Yes, my job is to collect the saliva samples and through swabs from our volunteers, and we want to explore the changes of their immunity and internal environment and so on when they come to the plateau. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Oh, and over there,
And she's responsible for collecting and sub-packaging urine.
Yeah. I'm just collecting their urine or stool samples, and we will analyze their like the metabolomics, microbiome, or some biomarkers of oxidative stress or inflammation in the lab. Yeah.
And here, hi. She's responsible for measuring blood pressure and arterial stiffness.
Oh, okay. I measured blood pressure and pulse wave velocity to assess the cardiovascular health of our participants. Okay.
So, thank you very much. Hope you have a comfortable time here in such a high altitude.
Thank you. The same to you.
Thank you. Bye. Apart from the research team like this, altogether there are more than 270 scientists working for this expedition. For this year's expedition, it focuses on different issues related to environment. For example, the westerly monsoon synergy. The team set off big balloons carrying the devices to collect information while it's going up to the skies. And there's also a research team that collect information related to the Asia water tower changes. It collects samples of water to analyze the changes through the past decades. With the most discipline covered, the highest number of scientific research participants, and the most advanced equipment utilized, it is the largest expedition since the second surveys on Qinghai Tibet Plateau started in 2017. So that is all for today's Xinhua Live, and thank you for watching. See you next time.